Welcome back guys, we're back with another upgrade to our AI voice agent built with Ultravox. You guys really loved the previous builds where I shared how to automate outbound calls and inbound calls using Ultravox, Twilio and N8N. And this time we're taking it up a notch and integrating multi-stage calls. This means our AI voice agent can now follow a guided conversational flow. This allows us to implement things like authentication and escalation to managers, and also being able to go down different paths of the conversation depending on certain criteria. And it's very similar to how you might be building agents inside of retail. This is a huge deal for use cases where structured conversations are key. First, I'm going to show you a quick demo of the agent in action, handling a full insurance claim inbound call. As always, I'll be breaking down a system infrastructure diagram showcasing the different stages and the tools for each of those stages. And if you stick around, I'll show you a neat little trick that I use to build out these prompts for voice AI agents. So without wasting any time, let's dive straight into the demo. Right guys, so let's see a quick demo of the agent in action. So I've put up the transcript on the left hand side, so you'll be able to see the transcript and also the function calls as they happen in real time. So let's go ahead and give it a call.
Hello, thank you for calling Secure Life Insurance. My name is Sarah, your AI assistant. I see that you're Jon Snow and you have an existing account with us. Welcome back. I'd like to start by asking, are you calling to follow up on your previous inquiry, or do you have a new request or question you'd like to discuss today?
All right, so I would like to actually file a new claim.
Before we proceed with filing a new claim, I need to verify your identity for security purposes. May I have your full name, date of birth, and policy number, please?
All right, so full name is Jon Snow. Date of birth is 27th of June, 1967. And my policy number is 347491.
Thank you, John, for providing that information. I'm going to go ahead and verify your details now. Thank you. Your identity has been verified successfully. Now that we have verified your identity, I can assist you with filing a new claim. To proceed, could you please provide me with some details about the incident you'd like to claim for? This includes a detailed description of what happened, the date of the incident, and the location where it occurred.
Yeah, so yesterday my Lambo was damaged during a hailstorm. So this happened outside my house.
I'm so sorry to hear that your Lamborghini was damaged in the hailstorm, John. That must be very frustrating for you. To further assist you with your claim, can you please tell me more about what happened? For example, what time did the hailstorm occur, and are there any witnesses or photos of the damage that you've taken?
Yeah, so I do have photos that I'll be able to share with you guys. And this happened around 8 p.m. last night.
Thank you for providing that information, John. It's great that you have photos of the damage, as this will be helpful in processing your claim. Just to confirm, the incident occurred yesterday at around 8 p.m. outside your house, and you have photos of the damage to your Lamborghini. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and submit your claim now. I'll need to provide some additional information to our claims department. Your claim has been successfully submitted, John. You have been assigned a claim ID of CL65854. Our claims department will review your claim within the next 3 to 5 business days. You will be contacted once the review is complete. Is there anything else I can assist you with?
I wanted to actually speak with a manager because I wanted to ask if the policy actually covers hail damage. So are you able to transfer me to a manager?
I'd be happy to help you with that. John, I'm going to go ahead and transfer you to a manager who can assist you with your question about policy coverage for hail damage.
Hello, John. I'm Alex, the Senior Manager at Secure Life Insurance. I've been briefed on your situation, and I understand you're concerned about whether your policy covers hail damage to your Lamborghini. I'd be happy to help you with that.
Actually, no. On second thoughts, I think I'm all good. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You're welcome, John. It was a pleasure assisting you. I'm glad we could resolve your concerns. If you have any other questions or need further assistance in the future, don't hesitate to reach out. Have a great day and take care of your Lamborghini.
Awesome. And then it goes and hangs up. As you saw, in real time, we saw the transcripts. We saw all of the tool invocations. If we scroll all the way to the top, we won't be able to see the first ones, but I think if we just scroll down here, we can see the submit claim tool invocation. So this is where we grabbed all of the information. As you can see here, I didn't actually specify the exact date. So today's the 1st of April. And this here automatically saw today's date and was able to use that to extract the date. We also have some information about the incident outside the house, some more information, description, Lamborghini was damaged in hailstorm. We also have photos of the damage, etc. And it will go ahead and submit that to like a database, and then maybe trigger like an automation, notify a processing team that goes ahead and reviews the claim, and then they'll be able to get back to the user. So we can see at the bottom here, we also got transferred to the manager. So this is the third stage in the flow. The first one was the verification. The second was being able to actually take the claim and extract the information. And the third one was to escalate to our manager. And as we can see here, we managed to do that, and the voice actually changed. So we have different voice and a completely different persona and prompt for the third person. So in here, I'm just using as the manager, but this could also be like a real person that can pick up and answer the queries and support the customers. So let's jump on and see a high overview of the system to understand it a bit better and learn a bit more about the core stages in Ultravox. Right, so here we have the conversational flow diagram. We'll start with the left-hand side, start the call. We have the first stage, which is just initial greetings to the customers and authentication. And we're able to set the voice for each of the stages. So this here, we're using Tanya English voice. And these are the tools that this stage has access to. So like I mentioned before, each stage also has its own prompt and tools. So the tools that we have for this stage are the verification tool, the question and answer tool, which is basically RAG doing retrieval from a knowledge base vector database. And then we have the move to claims handling and escalation to manager tools. And I'll explain that later, but essentially the way we move from one stage to another is similar to how we do function calling for normal tools. So it works in a similar fashion with slight differences, and I'll explain that when we get to the code part later in the video. And finally, we've got the hang up tool, and all of the stages have access to this because we want to be able to hang up the call at any given moment in the conversation. So we go through the flow, and if the verification is successful, we'll go to stage 2. If it failed, we go back to stage 1 and try again about 3 times before we just end the call. And the second stage is the claims handling and documentation. So at this stage, we basically extracting a lot of information from the user. So we have a separate prompt for this. And this is why I separated stage 1 to stage 2, because I want to be able to really make sure that we grab all of the necessary information to be able to submit the claim. And this is where we start to see the power of having multi-stages, because we can add more context to each of the stages and each of the prompts. So at this stage, we have the submit claim tool. We have escalation to manager again, and then move to call summary tool. Again, here we're using the voice of Tanya because it's essentially a seamless transition from stage 1 to stage 2. And the user might not even notice that, as you might have seen in the demo. And then if the user asks to speak to a manager, we go up to stage 3. And this is where we change the voice to Mark. And we have the question and answering tool. We're able to schedule meetings, and finally move to call summary section. And this section is basically just summarizing the conversation and basically hanging up. And then we end the call there. I hope you can start to see the power of having different stages with each with their own different prompts and different tools. You can start to really create some very robust calling AI voice agents. So make sure you give it a try. And there's always the core stages documentation inside of Ultravox where it outlines everything that we basically need to know. So I promise to show you a neat trick of how I create the prompts for these kind of agents with different stages and just voice agents in general. And I basically created a custom GPT to build prompts for AI voice agents. And I'll show you guys exactly what I used. So at the top here, I basically just gave it the outline of what I want to do and the different stages. So I told it all the stages description and also the tools that it has access to and the actions that I want it to take, because I don't want it to start going off and doing its own thing. And this is the part where you want to make sure you give it the correct information, because this is what we'll use to create the prompts. And I just go through the stages, very like high level overview of what each stage should do and some actions. And then we get all of the prompts for the different stages split into markdown format where we can just copy and paste into our prompts inside of the code. So you can see here we have the prompt for each of the stages. We've got the claims, the escalation stage, and then finally the call summary and closing. So if you're a serious voice AI agent builder and you want to get your hands on this custom GPT, you'll find it inside of my school community. And yes, it is paid, but you're going to find a lot of value inside of this community. We do weekly AI voice agent deep dives. We also do a bit of N8N automations and different workflows. And you'll find a custom GPT like I mentioned in here. And I've also recently added a step-by-step tutorial to using Ultravox and troubleshooting. And this really goes through every detail and everything that you need to know, even if you're a complete beginner and you want to set up Ultravox, and has everything to get you up and running and have a working AI voice agent. And finally, let's quickly look at the code changes that I made to make this possible. And at first glance, you might notice that the folder structures and there's a bunch of new files inside of here. This is just best practice of the different folder structures and name conventions when it comes to FastAPI backends. And we're doing this because the project is becoming a bit more complex. So now we're splitting things into different folders so that it's a bit more modular and easy to manage manage and modify. So first we're going to look at the call stages, and this is where we have the full prompts of all of the different stages. So I have system prompt, manager prompt, the call summary prompt, etc. And at the bottom here we have the function to basically grab the different prompts for each of the stages, and we also have the different voices. So we have this dictionary here for call handling using Tanya, the manager uses Mark, and then the call summary stage uses Tanya again. And this is just a very simple function that gets the voice depending on the call stage that we're in. And then if you go to config, this is basically where we keep all of our API keys and the Ultravox model, as well as the calendar list and also the inbound first message, the default first message. But the main files are under services. This is where we have the Ultravox service. So let's start here. So the way we actually call the different stages and go from one stage to another is exactly the same as calling a function or a tool. So here we have the temporary tool, and we define this is the verify tool, and this is the description of the tool, and then the different parameters. Essentially, when we want to do a change of stages, it's actually even simpler. All we have to do is just define the tool name, give it some description, and this is what the agent will use to basically also know when to transition to this stage. We can give it a timeout, and we just have to specify that it's the client. There's no dynamic parameters. We don't need to do that. So this is a very simple example of how we actually just implement the call stages and move from one stage to another. Then we also have to modify the actual handling of the tool invocations. So I created this function and I put it in a separate file, and basically this is where we have all of the invocations that happen. As soon as the agent decides to call a tool or move from one state to another, this calls up this function. And basically for the name, if the tool name is question and answer, we do this. If it's verified, we do that, etc. So let's quickly look at an example here. So we have the move to claim handling tool, and essentially we have a new variable that we're able to use. And this is a message that the agent will basically say as it transitions from one stage to another. And also when it comes to returning the result, this is where we define the different prompts. So we have the function here, like I shown you in the other one. We get the stage prompt. So this is the prompt for this stage. We also get the voice for this stage. And then we pass inside of our result dictionary back to the Ultravox WebSocket. So as you can see, it's very simple to integrate this into the existing system. And finally, if you remember from the previous videos, we had the media stream endpoint. This is essentially in its own little folder here, and it hasn't changed like at all. We also have the different endpoints inside of the API folder. So we have the calls.py. This is where we had the incoming call endpoint as well as the outgoing call endpoint. And we also have the call status endpoint inside of here as well. Otherwise, it's just a very modular, very clean folder structures, and it keeps everything neat and have its own place. So like I mentioned, if you want to grab the complete source code and everything that you're seeing here, it will all be uploaded inside of the Score community. So make sure you go ahead and grab that. And if you have any ideas and things that you want me to integrate into the system, different integration, different tools and different functionalities, make sure you let me know in the comments down below. I'm really trying to make this into the most robust and complete AI voice agent system there is. And as always, if you found this helpful, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. With that being said, thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.